Hello Food Pharmacy families. Thank you for joining us for another DASH diet video. My name is Shannon and I'm a registered diet technician and chef. Today we'll be diving into herbs and spices. Let's get started. We're going to talk a little bit about herbs and spices and honestly, what's the difference? Herbs and spices both come from plants, and herbs are the fresh part of the plant, while spices are more the dried root or seed or fruit of the plant. I have a lot of examples just to kind of go over and things that you're super familiar with and maybe some things that you're not. I think we'll talk a little bit about some of the fresh herbs first, and I'll bring my plate over because I have a little selection. This is cilantro. And cilantro is something you've seen us use quite a bit here. It's a great herb. It has a very distinctive flavor and it looks a lot like parsley. I mean, I've absolutely picked up parsley instead of cilantro. It has happened. The big difference is the smell. If you smell cilantro, you will know immediately what it is. And what's also cool about cilantro is that it's also where coriander comes from, which is a spice. I also have some fresh thyme here, and I have some fresh sage, and I have some fresh rosemary. All of these are great flavor enhancers. And in French cooking, sometimes they'll do what's called a bouquet. Dum, 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 dum. Here's your bouquet. But what they do is they actually wrap it, usually tied together, and they'll put it in like a baggy thing. I don't remember the name of it, but they'll put it in soups and stocks, and it really just helps enhance the flavor of everything. Also, herbs can be thrown into just different salads to give it just a nice little flavor pop and a freshness to it. Okay. I always add herbs at the end when I'm cooking, because typically that's when it brightens up, and I feel like if I add it beforehand, sometimes the flavor gets lost in the cooking process. I also have a bunch of spices here. And again, I have the dried version of rosemary, and this is the fresh version. And in general, most of your spices are going to have stronger flavors than your herbs. So with spices, go a little bit less. With herbs, you can go a little bit heavier because it's going to be more strong for the spice and less strong for the herb. You can see the difference in the dried version. Fresh is going to smell a little bit different. It's going to be a little bit more fragrant, but fundamentally they do the same thing. And this will last you as long as you need it to. Okay. There's also spice blends. This is something I've used in my house forever. Italian seasonings. And I guess in the last 15, 20 years, this has been another big one for me, which is adobo. Spice blends are super fun. They kind of take out some of the think process, but if you ever want to make them, honestly, it's just a mixture of either dried herbs or spices, and you can make your own. What we're going to do today is actually make our own pumpkin spice, which I think is super fun and something people think might be fancier than it is. There's no pumpkin involved. No pumpkins were harmed in the making of our pumpkin spice. But I'll show you how to do that in just a minute. First and lastly, the last thing I want to go over as far as spices and herbs are just some of the roots. So ginger is a root, and this is the fresh version. And then this is the powdered version. Okay? So you've got your fresh, which is the root, and then your spice here and how it looks quite different. They both smell, but this one smells more citrusy. There's like a distinctive difference to it. And ginger root is something that you can buy pretty much anywhere. And I've learned years ago the way to peel it the best is by using the side of a spoon. And I think I said earlier, well, I didn't say earlier to you all, but this is kind of an older version. But when you do it with a spoon, it comes right off, so it makes it easy to cut. Okay? So this is our fresh bulb of garlic. And then this is the garlic powder that you would find at the grocery store. And you can just kind of see, again, the difference in what it looks like. The dried version will last you a long time. And actually, the bulbs last a decent amount too, but this will for sure last a longer period of time. All right, this is a super quick, simple recipe. Pumpkin spice is something you've heard about, you've seen it. It's something you can add to your tea. It makes it almost like a homemade chai, to your coffee, in lots of baked things. It's just a key recipe, and it's very, very easy. So I have some ground ginger here, and these little containers I bought at the dollar store, and I love them. They keep everything nice and fresh because they seal it airtight. This is some cinnamon. This is allspice, which, by the way, is just one plant. It is not a bunch of spices. Threw me off too. I would think with the word all, there'd be like a bunch of different spices in there. There's not. And nutmeg. So a lot of these spices are super strong. The dominant one, and you can make your own flavor palette with any of this stuff. If you're making it yourself, you can increase the garlic or you can reduce the ginger. Whatever you want to do, you can like make it be like your own special blend. For me, I love cinnamon. It's my favorite. I like when the house smells like cinnamon, like one of those candles. I like that. So I'm going to put more cinnamon in than other ingredients. About a tablespoon of cinnamon, just like that. And then we'll just use a teaspoon for the rest of our ingredients. So this is going to be about a teaspoon of ground ginger, about a teaspoon of allspice, and about a teaspoon of nutmeg. There are 3 teaspoons in a tablespoon. So that's kind of like the difference there. And we'll just kind of mix it up. And then you can even use one of these containers if you had another one to put it in there. And this is essentially pumpkin spice. You can sprinkle this on my French toast, in my pancakes, in my yogurt, with my coffee, make myself feel fancy. You're good to go. Thanks again for joining us today. I hope it was helpful. In our next video, we'll be exploring eggs and breakfast options. Remember, if you have any questions, you can always reach out to your care team at Christiana.